Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Power. Oh boy, welcome everybody. This is Tyler Yonke, Libertarian Podcast Review. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe the best intro in podcasting. I don't know. What do you guys say? Welcome, Raven and Toplobsta. Thanks, guys.
Dude, thanks for having us. I actually had to tweet as this show got started. I just said the L in LGBTQ stands for libertarian.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. Banger intro. Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah. Wait till you see the outro. I did a special one, and I'm sorry, it's Toplobsta heavy. It didn't put much Raven in there or any of it actually. But
there's not a lot of it
as it should be. That's fine.
So I'm Tyler Yonke, LPR. This is Raven over here, and Dan. See now when we talked about it. and Toplobsta over here. I want to welcome you both to the show. The original thing I had going on was I was reviewing podcasts, and the idea was then you can interview people. And I haven't been doing this, so I'm like, I need to do this. Especially Raven hasn't been on here. Tell us all about where you guys, how you met. I know Raven was in the chat of Tower Gang a lot, and he was really simping hard, and then he won the heartstrings of Toplobsta, and you guys two became the ambiguously gay duo. So give us a start, everything about your show. What do you want to do? Where you're at, and then I have pointed questions too, but first, welcome.
Well, you buried the lead. The show is called Ambiguously Gay Duo. So I don't know. I mean, really, you kind of nailed it, right? I enamored sweet Toplobsta with my ways, and he saw fit to make me co-host. And now we talk about, just the ins and outs of schizophrenia.
Oh, well, what happened is you showed us a picture of your penis. I drew it, and now we talk about God. And go figure,
not what I
it's
just
taken
said.
off.
Which sorry to jump through, and I actually have to do this because there's a new feature on X. If you go to their profile and there's a little grok symbol and you click it, it gives you a breakdown of that person. So here we go.
Yeah.
Toplobsta is a sharp-tongued observer who once dreamed of texting a friend too busy with success, now dissecting everything from demonic music to government inefficiency with a conspiratorial edge. Oh, Tyler Yonke will vibe with. How did I get thrown in there? Honestly,
Interesting. You are Tyler Yonke, so they know that. Yeah.
Right. Toplobsta has been stirring the pot, linking AI to religious exodus and calling out evil vibes from podcasts to cryptic jabs. Patrick Shouts lauded Toplobsta for sparkling a dangerous retard civil war with David L. Corbo, praised his cultural impact with Nephilim shit. It's truly a golden age for America. Quote from Toplobsta.
Oh, this is actually, this might be a good topic for your show because it's very meta. It's meta. So what I did basically is I don't know. I guess David's muted there. What I did here was I went on who are those podcasts? Who are these podcasts? Have you ever seen that show, Tyler?
Yeah, because it's a show that basically a better version of mine.
Yeah, I mean it's like the grandfather of your show. Like you've niched that show down to libertarian talk, which is like
I'm moving away from that. That's why it's just LPR now. It's just lesbians projecting retards or something. I don't know.
Wait. What are you gonna do now, though? If you're disenchanted with the Libertarian Party, where else? Where are these greener pastures?
I've been doing, and I've been some guy went out there, gave cocaine to his kids, got arrested. He's an attorney on, and I do mostly legal stuff now with the news and stuff. So yeah, but it's not about me. But thank you.
Oh, he's a lawyer. Yeah, so obviously he should be doing. Yeah, he should be doing legal stuff. But he's like, he had the great idea. He's like, I'm gonna do a podcast about like an ideology that thinks the law shouldn't exist as a lawyer. And it's like, yeah, perfect. That's working out great.
Libertarianism to me is a legal foundation. That's really what it is. It's not a political philosophy. It's a legal foundation. And that's where I deviate maybe with some people. But continue. Do you want me to read David's AI
No,
Grok?
fuck David. I don't care about David.
I don't want to know what Grok thinks about me.
Raven. Sorry.
I want to talk about me. And I want to talk about fucking what I've been doing. Okay?
Yeah, because he didn't talk for the last episode at all because we just did an episode and he was so mad that shout out Riverside. Shout out Riverside, great streaming platform, really awesome distributor into other video platforms, really crushing it over there. And they did so well that Top basically almost had an aneurysm mid-show and shut down. So yeah, take it away, Top. Go ahead.
Here's what happened. Well, I mean, the Who Are Those Pods guys, they reviewed Tower Gang, which you know what Tower Gang is, right, Tyler?
No.
Okay, Tower Gang's it's a really great show. It's like a parapolitical show, some would say. Big brain takes, a lot of really interesting information that's dispersed there. The producer needs some work, but whatever. They had reviewed Tower Gang initially, I think because Mark Random was on. This is probably before your tenure, Tyler.
No, because I reviewed you guys long ago.
They reviewed Tower Gang because Mark Random was on?
No. I mean, like,
before my tenure as producer.
Yeah. You weren't producing yet. They reviewed Tower Gang because Mark Random was on, and Random is pretty terrible on a podcast if you don't wrangle him correctly. So these guys are like old school broadcasters where they have like a time and place to say stuff, and they they have these drops that are really hokey, like, you know, morning radio shit. So when they listen to our show that we're like talking back and forth and like normal people, they're like, look at this is unprofessional. They reviewed us. We reviewed them back. We told them to go fuck themselves in not any uncertain terms.
Yeah.
And then Carl actually liked it. So he came on the show, and Carl's the host of WATP. He came on the show. He seemed pretty bored by it. He ended up hiring me to do his t-shirts. I showed up to his live event. Yeah. Went on stage on his live event. I was invited on stage, and I went up there and I said whatever the fuck I felt like it. And the people liked it. He liked it. He invited me back on his show twice. So the first time I went on, we reviewed Better Off Dead, which is Toad's show. Had a lot of fun with that. This time we reviewed David's show, TLC, or Timeline Cleanse. And not so much fun with this one. I mean, the audience, his audience did not like David. They did not like me. The things that they said about me after was crazy. But I went on there and I played the heel. And like we took an episode of his show, and we just like dissected it. We're talking about nigger fights. We're talking about any kind of like racist things that he's doing. They're calling him mommy. They're calling him master. They're calling him a mommy master. All this shit like that. And I was very mean to David. Very mean on this show. And it put like a divide on our fans of the Nephilim Death Squad fans that don't understand what I do outside of Nephilim Death Squad, where I'm talking about Jesus. And I'm like, yeah. So
that's actually one of my questions here, but we'll get back to that.
Why Jesus?
Why Jesus? Like, what
no,
did he ever do?
It's literally this. How do you discuss serious issues like the devil or like the evils of Kim Kardashian and the symbolism, and then go on a podcast weekly with Cole and Toad?
Oh, that is a fantastic question.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's put a pin in that question because I'm not really sure how to think about it.
Keep going with your "We Are These Losers."
Is my screen like backwards? I feel like my screen is backwards.
Just go in there and unclick the mirror. It's mirroring.
Ah, okay.
Same with yours.
How did you do that? I want to do that.
The little gear button.
Let's see if I could do it. Here, I got it for you. Bam.
Oh, thanks, dude. I like when my hair goes that way instead. Thank you very much.
So, by the way, this is that's a good point. This is the first time I've streamed out with Restream. So you guys had your issues with. We're all searching for this, best platform, and StreamYard is probably the best, but the cost is a problem.
I mean, I don't even care about the cost because we're filthy rich. We make so much money from the podcast. We're quite successful. but it's you just want to try to stay ahead of the cutting edge of technology, and fucking not it. Riverside is not it, but StreamYard is pretty solid.
So, well, I do OBS, so I have much more control over my show.
I have IBS, which is I have no control over my shit.
How do you feel about IVF? Let's go right to the.
That's a good topic.
Is that Nephilim?
Let's finish talking. I mean, if you want, before we start talking about IVF babies, let's talk about our children because they're separated right now. I've created a rift in the timeline, a rift in these good people. They're like, they think that I hate David.
Right.
They're right.
Right.
They think that I think David's trash. They're also
are observant.
Yes, they are paying attention. And they seem to not like it, Tyler, because I went on there and all I did was tell the truth. All I did was say what I was thinking. And now it gets back to the fans. And now there's a whole rift and people are threatening to unsub from the look, fuck Top. He hates us all. Shit like this.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't
these
say
people
I
have not
them.
been paying. No. These are your fans that are saying this.
Here's the thing. Some people came in as my fans, and then some people came in kind of as David's fans, but mostly they came in as like Nephilim Death Squad fans. So they're talking to like, oh, these guys are talking about Jesus. They're not. There's no Cole. There's no Toad. They don't understand the dynamic of who I am. And when I show them who I am, they're like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like I pay money
when
to this guy.
When he shows them who he is, they are disgusted and rightfully
We
so.
all are.
Yeah. And so this whole thing is about him being he's tickled that he would treat people badly and then they would notice. This is essentially the crux of this situation here is that he's just now happy that they realize who he is.
He is Brian Laundrie and we are Gabby Petito, and then he's upset that we don't like that he's trying to kill us and beat the crap out of us. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I'm
I've also
happy
been watching that documentary.
I'm actually really happy that you guys like it and that you've noticed. Like I'm glad that they've taken because I feel like
so you've noticed.
So you've noticed I hate you. It's very interesting. Now where do we go from here? I went on the show immediately. Like one of the criticisms I had of David was that he interacts with the fans. Like not just like pulling up their chats, but he's like interacting hardcore with them. And I'm like, David, this is not good because now there's no boundaries between us and the pay pigs. You understand what I'm coming at like with this, Tyler, right?
Yeah. I get it.
You get it exactly. And they didn't like that. They're like, you think we're pay pigs? You think we're sluts? You think we're trash? And I'm like, yeah, I said that already. Like,
yeah, I went on a big show.
Now you're not smart either.
When I said that.
Yeah, so like I said what I said. They got mad at it, and it's like, all right, I don't know what to really tell you from now. But really, this is David's fault because David has fostered this attitude of talking to them like they. What would be the correct word? Matter?
Treating them like people. Yeah. I have a terrible, I make a bad habit of interacting with individuals as if they are somebody who I start from a point of neutrality and maybe even tempered with respect until you show me otherwise. And that's typically how I approach more people or people most of the time. Top has found that off-putting, to say the least.
Okay, so I'm not just... I'm okay with Top's point of view here.
Yeah, but no, I'm fine with it too.
I'm also confused about your is it your fans that don't know this already, and suddenly they're like upset. They think there's a rift.
That's what's been very confusing because
a lot maybe of he's right then about saying that they're not that great. I mean, I love them all. Please subscribe here, but
right, like, but yeah, subscribe patreon.com. No, I mean. So what? So Top has gleamed in his infinite wisdom that the people who are fans of our schizophrenic show are flawed human beings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is not groundbreaking information here, and I don't think that Top is saying it is either. I'm just noticing that he's deriving quite a lot of value from twisting these people in the way that they're being twisted.
Yeah,
and he does it really easily too. So what I see is this disproportionate thing happening where Top is content and it pleases him, and the other people are distraught and they're writhing. How could you treat us such a way? How could you think so little of us? And they're having a bit of an emotional response, whereas Top is rubbing his hands together like a Jew meme. So there's nothing really profound happening here. I knew it was only a matter of time until he split the fan base straight down the middle. So buy a Raven shirt to show your support for somebody who actually says hello to you.
So how do you guys handle this in the backs? You know, because you have a relationship, and now is this the Kumia, whatever, you know, like the big rift here coming between for Nephilim Death Squad? You guys are going to maybe start pulling separate directions. I don't know. Is there a problem?
I would say that we would pull separate directions if I thought that Top was capable of starting another show, which I know he's not because he already does 3 shows. So it's not happening. There's no other direction to pull in.
This is on my actual, you know, I don't have many questions, but why is your show taking off? And my first one is because it says, you know, question like, is it because of the topic or your co-host? So you guys both had separate shows that were, and then you got together and now you're kind of blowing up. I mean,
no.
We
had separate shows. Top had a successful show. I had a show that 5 people listened to.
I wouldn't say successful. I have like 500 followers, but I only did like 3 episodes on my thing.
Yeah.
And
no. I was talking about Tower Gang. Tower Gang is a you know, I mean, successful it's a chaotic show that people like, and it's garnered you some recognizability.
Yeah, I would say that's true, but I'm talking like this aspect. Hang on, someone's trying to call me.
Thank God it wasn't me. It was the unprofessional host. So I mean, basically to unpack that, I mean, Top is he's doing one show, I'm doing another show. We end up linking up together. I had done a show quite unsuccessfully on and off for about 7 years, or 6 years really. And then, I hopped on, met Top, and then we created, or essentially I rode his coattails all the way to success. So I mean, that is pretty much the way that it went. I don't know.
And then they get mad. The people get mad when I say like, I don't like David, I hate David, this and like shit like this. They're like, oh, why do you say this? Is like, because I can. Because I can, because there's no recourse for David. That's why I do and I act the way I act. There's also no recourse for these people. I could say whatever I want to them, and they go, "We're gonna unsubscribe from your Patreon." I'm like, "No, you're not." You know why? Because I bring the fucking heat, baby. Except for this last episode that we recorded, it was garbage. It was.
Can I just address something real quick? Somebody in the chat named Red Ensign is leaving. He said, "This all sounds like gay shit. Have a great day." I hope I can catch him before he goes. Fuck you, faggot. All right, go on.
And by the way, that might have been someone that was specifically my fans.
I'm sorry, dude. They shouldn't talk that way. They shouldn't talk that way to me. All right. And they shouldn't talk that way to you either, Tyler. Have some self-respect.
Well, part of it is my problem because I call them fans, and I don't think that should ever be the case. Because I don't know if it's imposter syndrome. And by the way, I have something at the end. We're going to watch something that I think ties in perfectly here. Because I really want your reaction. You know, part of my thing is, you ever watch those reaction videos, you know, to music and stuff, and I get stuck in the rabbit hole of that. We're going to do that today, but we're going to do it from a different perspective because I think you guys break things down much different, but it plays into exactly what we're talking about. So why are you successful right now? What's happening?
It's because of the stupid people that watch the show. This is what I've been trying to say this entire time, Tyler. It's like you're not listening. Okay, these people that watch the show, I'm not even going to say them by name. I'm not going to look at them. Look, they're calling me Brown right now. Fuck this guy. Well, it's fine.
They are right.
They watch the show. I do a great product. Okay. I deliver them just gold all the time. They watch it. That's why it's successful. I mean, really, what's the question? What are you talking about, Tyler?
Look, I can answer the question. Okay. Something happened, and culturally something happened. And that happening was people fell away from the mainstream narrative in a really big way, right? We went through lockdowns, we went through all kinds of shit. The situation with Zelensky and Putin, and the situation with the Biden administration, and you name it. In the past 5 years, people are disenchanted with the official narrative, and some things happen along the way that kind of gave pause and made people think things are a little bit stranger. I don't know if you've been paying attention. We're kind of in this pseudo UFO disclosure place, right? Where they just did the second ever congressional hearing on UAPs right at the start of the new year. So we're in a weird place, and the legacy media is simply not cutting it anymore in regards to answers. And so I think it was a matter of timing. We did great on the branding as far as like Nephilim Death Squad is a banger of a name. And ultimately, I think it does come down to our personalities is probably a good second or third component. But the main component is just that we have questions, a lot of the same questions that the average person has, and we're not finding satisfactory answers. So, it takes two retards to sit in front of a camera and seek out people who have an interesting take, information that's not being disseminated by legacy media, things that you wouldn't hear conventionally elsewhere. And that's really it. So it's the right place at the right time in regards to people's falling away from legacy media. It was a good move in regards to branding. And then I think, ultimately, the icing on the cake or the cherry on top is personality driven. And that's it, man. It's just a we got lucky, or I would say that we were blessed to be in the right place at the right time with the right ideas.
Yeah, it's like most of our fans, a lot of our fans are holdovers from the Libertarian Party, which then turns into like hard Republican or what do they call that? Post-libertarian, right? That kind of thing. Yeah. That turns into conspiracy and religion. So a lot of them went ortho bro. You'll see like, what's his name? Counterpoints, Buck Johnson, Pete Quinones, they went kind of like Orthodox Christian or like hard right. We went insane, and a lot of people followed us. And then also that we tapped into the insane crowd that is actually not insane. It's just what people call insane. Conspiracy theorists or people that were right for this entire time. Basically, the unvaccinated are who watch us, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot more of them than you think.
Yeah. And I would also say, Tyler, just to expand on that, we use this analogy in the past of like these portals, right? Where a really good way of describing it is when it comes to like 9/11, let's say, or not even, let's just say the war in the Middle East. It's like on the surface level, what is the American public told? Well, we're there to liberate a people that are under a dictatorship, whatever it is, if it's Gaddafi and he's gassing people allegedly, or if it's Saddam Hussein. And then you go a little bit further and you go, well, this was never about liberating a people. This was about oil. And it's like, you're almost there. That's one portal, right? You kind of step through that one. And then it's like, well, this isn't about oil as much as it's about establishing permanent military presence in all these places around the world, as many as we possibly can. And you go, okay, that's a step further, but still not enough. And then you get those leaked emails from, I don't know if it was Anthony Weiner's laptop or the John Podesta emails when it came to Hillary Clinton's server getting hacked. And there's an email in there about looking for the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the body of Gilgamesh, and the location of the buried Nephilim. Right? So I would argue several portals beyond liberating a people, responding to a terrorist attack, securing oil, setting up permanent military establishments. I would go way beyond that and say, no, this is about ancient biblical entities, and it's of a spiritual nature, or else they wouldn't be looking for those things. So that's kind of what I mean.
I'd like to bring attention to something that you fucked up early on in the show. The monetization on YouTube. We just got a $5 super chat from Biggest Foreheadist.
Shout out Biggest Foreheadist. Love that guy.
Our first super chat on YouTube, which is actually pretty cool. So that
we
means
do that now. We have super chats on YouTube.
You sure it's not mine?
No, it's mine.
Literally, this guy is made an avatar of me. That is
but
me.
I mean, are you sure that the
forehead.
super chat isn't going to my channel? Did you?
Well, we agreed that all money that was going to you for this episode would go to us. We actually said that we wouldn't take payment and that we would just take it
out of my Tower Gang pay. Just we'll split it that way.
It's pretty.
This is our. That's our
good
thing there. Go ahead and pull that up. See, this is from because I'm simultaneous. This is called Restream, so I figured I could restream it to other places.
Right, which we're all here for. Everything you just said there, Raven, I loved. And let me ask you a question. So I feel that this is, and Dan Bongino just got nominated as FBI deputy, whatever, and they're excited about it. And maybe I'll play a clip here of Tim Pool literally jerking off on stream talking about it. Who's so excited. But it reminds me of the USAID thing where you have the Ashley St. Clair's out there talking about how, look at all this, it's going to LGBT in a foreign country, and the right just gets all worked up. Well, the reality is subversion in that country due to these programs. So it's a layer deeper than the surface, which the dangerous retards may only understand, but then there's a level deeper. which I don't think the right or the left ever looks at, because they need to propagandize the top level. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you're talking about with yourself as well?
That's a great way of putting it. And I would also argue that when you say the right and the left doesn't go that deep because it's their job to propagandize that surface stuff, it also is it's a mode of self-preservation. Meaning if the right or the left starts to look too critically at these things, they will find that the very thing that they adhere to and partake in is actually some type of theater, and that they don't actually have. That's what kind of gets me about libertarians is like, I recognize that it's kind of libertarianism is like, leave me alone, big overwhelming governing body, allow people to do what they want. And as far as like passing good legislation, we should do it the right way. We should go through the correct channels and avenues, and there's checks and balances every step of the way. And, then you kind of yell, oh no, when some Republican or some Democratic politician bends those rules or breaks those rules. And it's like, and then the libertarians get mad, and it's like, you fucking idiots, you're trying to play a game that the people who create aren't even playing by the rules at all.
Yeah.
And also you don't have the ability to affect change on the level that you think you do, or would like to think that you do. And, which is why they don't really have any success until lately. And that's something that we can get into as to why libertarians are kind of finding their place in the larger political conversation. But yeah, it's a survival mechanism. If you look beneath the surface, you kind of cease to exist. You go, oh, I'm fucking engaging in tomfoolery.
Pope Francis, is he on the side of good or evil?
He's like
evil.
Yeah, he's evil as fuck, dude.
Okay.
He's
I'm just checking. You mentioned Buck and some of these ortho. I don't know if they're Catholic, but
they're Orthodox Christianity. They don't really fuck with the
so
Vatican like that.
Orthodox
it just looks like
Christianity,
Catholicism.
It does look like it, yeah.
It predates Catholicism. Orthodox Christianity is the original Christian. It's the first denomination of Christianity. Then there were a couple of offshoots, and then the Catholic Church was created, and then there became a papacy, and basically it's an intermediary to God. So it's the first. I guess Johnny Cerrucci would blame them instead of the Jews, but it's the first blackmail ring that was pretty much ever created. Or probably, I mean, nothing new under the sun. So you would go to the priest and you do a confessional, tell him all your deepest, darkest sins, and boom, that's like the first blackmail that they had. And then you wonder why the Vatican was able to build up so much treasure and wealth and basically become its own nation. It's because they've been doing this for a very long time.
So let's back up a bit. I had a question. How do you discuss these serious topics of good and evil and God, and then do your outrageous show?
Do your evil show.
Yeah, your evil show with Cole and Raven comes on there, and by the way, he's one of the. Since I've started this, I hate the guest shows, but Raven's not a guest. He's like they have the Three Stooges, and then there's the other cousin Shemp that comes in. He's perfect. He works just fine. That's
Three Stooges lore from fucking Daddy Yankee over here. I never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Showing your age, Tyler.
Okay. Well, I'm not. That's even old for me. However, how do you both do that? And then what's so that's always a curious. And by the way, I do the exact same thing. I preach, abstinence in a sense, or getting married, having kids, doing the right thing, not being a complete fuck up. And then I do a show like with you guys there. So
and he turns the camera off and goes and jerks off. Yeah.
Here's the reality of it. Right. Besides our fans being trash and me hating them, I say a lot of shit that's bad, and it's like awful. We talk about a lot of subjects that are taboo and things that most people probably shouldn't talk about. Also, we got another super chat. Thank you very much. I think we should. Can I read these really quick? I don't want to.
Yeah, please. Do you have the ability to click on and add them? To, control the screen as you wish.
Okay, so the first one, he says, y'all monetized a bunch of mentally unstable people and gave them multiple platforms to interact with you. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen? I'm here for it all. Yeah, he's right. David fostered a lot of this. And then his second
there was
one,
no resistance,
Tyler,
by the way, as I was fostering this.
He says, Tyler, do not downplay the virtue. Same dude, biggest forehead is
the value.
Not downplay the value of the first ever super chat by just skipping over it. And then he called you faggot.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, biggest foreheadist. I love that somebody with my namesake and bearing my image is the first person who ever super chatted us. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Another $5 super chat from Scott. Scott's my favorite person, actually.
I don't
don't like any of the people in the chat, but I really like Scott.
Scott's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, $5. Top Lobster MK Ultra Me. Also true.
Yeah. If Top died, I would do a show with Scott 100%. But then I'd have to shave my mustache because his is a glorious mustache. What was the question though? Top, why do you do an evil show?
Why I do an evil show? Because it's me, bro. It's like there's the duality of men, like up and down. There we go. Screenshot that.
There he is. As above, so below.
As above, so below. No, listen. I hate when people go on and they act like there's something that they're not, just to present it to the audience. Who cares? Like,
did you see that from Sneeko recently, where Sneeko is basically complaining into the camera that he wants to elevate his content and talk about things that are XYZ, but that he doesn't want to be called a faggot or this and that. And I'm like, you fucked up, baby, because I was birthed in the flame of faggotry. Like everything that I do from the jump got me ridiculed, and it still gets me ridiculed, and I have not slowed down at all. I will continue to do only what I want and not what someone else wants. It's
really like, I do Tower Gang because everybody does Tower Gang. Everybody or has done Tower Gang with their own friends. And if you haven't, you're a boring person and you're missing out. But like, I think that's why Tyler's attracted to it. Tyler's a daytime lawyer, and then he goes and at night on Wednesdays, he produces this show because there was at some point in your life, you had a group of friends, right? That kind of talked how we did. And it's a little bit refreshing.
You need
it's literally how my wife and I talk all the time. So
you're blessed, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's the difference? I mean, I just had, now I have a microphone in front of my face, but I'm supposed to change how I talk. And it's also a great, it's a great strategic move where it's like, I have said these things. These things have been out in the ether. I have said the worst of the worst things. Anything you could imagine verbally, I have already said it. Some people don't find it, but if you go out there and you see me say it and you come up to me and you're like, oh my God, how could you? I'll tell you, go fuck yourself. That's how I could. And from there, now I can tell the truth. But most people, they're like, I can't say what I think because I built this facade of what you think about me. And I'm talking about, I don't know, and just about anybody, but like a Tim Pool, or I'd even say maybe even a Dave Smith is a little bit ashamed of maybe some of the people that see him now, seeing what he said on his early days in Legion of Skanks. He's also toned it back. But it's like, yo, dude, is that who you are? Because if that's who you are, then anything else is like, it's not being honest with the people. It's not being honest with yourself. So I present who I am. And even on Nephilim Death Squad, I present who I am to not even to limited, but it's just not what the show calls for.
No, you're who you are within the context of that conversation. If you were having that conversation with no cameras on, you'd be exactly the same way. So that's all it is. Like, we all have different modes, right? You're not going to go and talk to one person that you're in a business meeting with the same way that you're going to talk to your buddy who you're, on the back porch with at night sipping whiskey. Like, you're going to shoot the shit.
And to be honest, that's hurt me a lot. Like, when I worked with Louis J. Gomez, I worked for Louis, with him because we were business partners. I always spoke to him. That's not on this.
I don't have that.
It's on the wrong StreamYard. This is a restream.
I don't know what clip you're talking about.
When I worked with Louis J. Gomez, I always spoke with the utmost respect to him because we're doing business and we're talking about money and we're just what can we do to grow the business. So I'm not going to sit here and be sarcastic.
Yeah.
And in a sense, I guess I was a little bit fake, but what I was really doing is just okay, you're interested in money. And I'm not going to present you like a personality. I'm going to give you the numbers that we did here, and I'm going to give you the ideas that I have for your designs or whatever that applies to this job. That's it. So he put me in that box, and it's not his fault. He put me in that box, and he doesn't know who I am or what I do. And I guess now he's figuring it out now that I no longer work with him, but he's seeing what I am and what I do. And it's like I should have just been who I was before because he would have figured out.
But okay, what does that mean though? Then you're going to a business meeting and you crack jokes all the time. I mean, that's
right.
That's not necessary. You can have different aspects of yourself. There's times like a Hitler joke isn't always necessary. Although I've done that in sex with my wife before. So
legendary.
That was really early on. I don't even remember what happened. We were just dying laughing. So maybe I'm wrong.
Well, it's not so much that I wasn't I'm not going to go overboard and just to force something in.
Yeah.
But there was times where
The opportunity presented itself.
Think about my appearance on Timcast. I don't know if you remember. You remember, Tyler?
That's my. That's the outro. Everybody, wait for the outro because
Oh, very nice.
So
well,
yeah,
I could play it right now. Basically, it's me. Never mind. Well, yes, I remember your thing on Timcast very well.
Yeah, Timcast, and it's like one of these things where I'm like, my excuse was I was saving face for Reed Coverdale and Jose, who wanted to get on it right after me. And if I would have went and misbehaved and said what I was thinking in the moment, which I mean, like, listen, you know how I am, Tyler, by now, but like the things are just like popping to my head, and I'll say them, like I'll pick them out the sky and just say it. And there were so many things that I'm thinking of, and I just said, you know what, I'm not going to do this. And I regret it. It was like, I wasn't being who I am. So I'm just, from now on, I'm just going to be who I am. And if I fall on my face, then at least it would be me, not like, some edited version of me.
Yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, though, both of you talk a lot about symbolism, stuff out there in the ether, in the culture that happens. Kim Kardashian, she goes and does that, Christmas video. I know Raven did a whole breakdown on that, and there's just symbolism with that. So is there anything that, and maybe you say to your kids, hey, watch out for this symbolism and all these other bad things out there. Is there part of you that is concerned about your funny side, your joking side, that perhaps how is this different? How is it different than Kim Kardashian putting out filth and you're putting out filth, beans in a dildo kind of stuff, or Raven's dick being, exposed for all to see? I mean,
my wife was actually wearing that shirt last night.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. My cock on it. It's a, kind of like Top said, the duality of man, right? Somebody in the chat said, where did it go? I don't know, man. People mature, they can change. Jesus wouldn't like that. And I think it says talk. I got to scroll down. That dirty mouth. And so, I go a lot of our work is about moving people towards Jesus Christ. I mean, ultimately, that's what Nephilim Death Squad, I think the most valuable thing that it's done is that. And we get people all the time talking about how we strengthen their relationship with God, or we brought them back to the church, or we brought them back into a relationship with Jesus Christ. Now you have to ask yourself, how are we achieving that while doing this other thing where my dick is on a shirt and Top is talking about beans? And it's like, well, I think one of the fundamental questions you have to ask yourself is, if you do believe that there is a God, a creator of this universe, and I would go a step further and say that it is the God that Jesus Christ references when he talks about the Father, does my behavior somehow affect that God's ability to exist? It's like, well, no. So in other words, I can be a douchebag, and then I can turn to you and say, but Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, right? And so those two things are not in conflict whatsoever, I would say. Now, is God a big fan of me having my dick on a shirt? I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
But
I'd say no.
I would say no. But I would also say that the ways in which I sin are on display for everyone. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm putting myself out there and I'm saying, look, this is exactly who I am. And the crowd goes wild. They call me a faggot and a retard and all this other shit. And then somehow I still manage to bring them closer to a relationship with God. I don't know how to compartmentalize those things and explain to you why they're working. But I think that it's got something to do with authenticity. So the same thing we're talking about with Sneeko, right? Where like, it doesn't matter. I'm not putting this thing on display. I am not running a bit, right? Unless I'm manipulating my homie into drawing my penis and putting out a shirt, which is a little bit of a bit, but it's like, at the end of the day, what you see of me, and we make way too much content to hide. It was way too much content for me to hide who I am. I am exactly who I say I am. Always.
Also, for this Love the Pie person asking about the Kim K Christmas video, that's on Nephilim Death Squad on our Rumble page. It's called a Kardashian Christmas, and it's actually both of us breaking it down. But Raven does the heavy lifting on this. A lot of the symbolism stuff, I'll defer to him. As far as like the conspiracy stuff, Raven is really he goes deep with the conspiracy stuff.
That the breakdown of that video was fucking tremendous. I feel like we learned so much. It was really, really fun. But what I just want to say is that when I was younger, I grew up in the slums. I was homeless for a big chunk of my life. I can't. I was homeless. I used to sell drugs. I used to beat people up. I've been to jail. We used to squat in abandoned houses. Like, I did a lot of drugs. I'm not going to pretend that that's not who I am. I would have to give you something totally fucking false. I would have to sit in front of this camera and give you something fake, and it would have never worked if I did that.
And there's also something about, like, for me, I grew up in the church, and I know these people intimately. Like, I was involved with the establishment. I played music. I was part of organizing the music. So I was like one of like the music leaders. So when there's meetings with the Treasury Department and the youth leader, I'm right there sitting there and I'm listening to them be fake. And then I go to the diner and I say whatever I want, and they go, "Oh my gosh, how could you say that?" And I'm just like, because this is like real shit. Like, I heard how you spoke when you were out of here. You do the same thing around other people that are your friends, but you're lying now. And I hated it. Yeah. I hate it with everything in me. I got kicked out of a church for saying what I think. And it's like, I'm not going to stop now. Now I'm going to double down. I got fired from Odyssey for, basically now it came to my knowledge from Drew Hancock that I was fired for my name, the Toplobsta. I accidentally logged on to a Zoom meeting under my email and was asked by the new micromanager there, after they took a bunch of Saudi money and fucking sold out and started to focus on cat videos instead of politics and the culture. She asked me why Toplobsta. I said, "Oh, the first chapter in Jordan Peterson's book." She said, and then like wrote it down. And I found myself not getting work anymore. And they paid me for like another 6 months before they finally let me go. So I'm like, oh, okay. My ideas are too vile. Just the idea that I might have liked him at one time was too vile.
And he's milk toast.
He's milk toast. So I'm going to show you, like, you don't like that. Now I'm going to fucking make you scream. Yeah. I'm going to show you exactly what you hate. That's what my brand's about. Like, you're going to scream anyway. I might as well give you something like real funny to make you scream about it. And it's also, it's me. So when we present this stuff, like about, I try not to be too preachy on the show, but people come to the conclusion that God is the way and that Jesus Christ is died for our sins. And I think that that's great. I'm so happy that that in the end of the day, that's what they're taking from this. Mm-hmm. But I can only be myself. So I present this to you. If you want to find a more buttoned up version, there's people like Tony Merkel out there. There's people. There's a lot of like ninjas are butterflies. Blurry creatures, very Christian. Keep it clean. They're not going to say nigger or faggot, but I will. And people come here and they like that, and that's fine. I don't know. I just do whatever I do, and I'm going to continue.
Well, can I just go ahead?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say too that at the end of the day, you got to like remember what the name of the goal of the show, Nephilim Death Squad, is to find the truth. That's it. Full stop. And that ends up bringing people to Christ. And I would say that's a beautiful byproduct, because in the Bible it says that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. So isn't it funny that when you're in the pursuit of truth, you end up aligning yourself with Jesus Christ? And so that is like a happy byproduct. We went through something very recently where we were not allowed to tell the truth about what was going on. And if you did, then you were deplatformed, or you were ridiculed, or you were dismissed, or yada, yada. I will be damned if I don't tell the truth again. If I bite my tongue because somebody else told me to. So if you're going to come along, and I'm not going to do the mental gymnastics here and try to figure out why me saying nigger is protecting the truth. But if you come to me and you tell me that I can't say a thing, I'm going to say, fuck you. And then I'm going to say it. And there's nothing that you can do about it. I was already homeless. I was a career welder before. What am I going to do? Go back to welding because you took away my ability to turn a camera on? Don't even know how you do that, but I'm not going to stop. So it's really about the truth and not being told by soft fake people that you can't say this or that.
And Tyler, I will be honest though, like the people that watch Nephilim Death Squad, because I'm gonna put this on the NDS feed if you don't mind.
Shit.
There's a part of me that does feel.
No, I mean, yes, please do.
He's like, oh God, I don't be associated with these people.
Whatever you fucking do.
No, I'm fine with it.
There's a part of me that, like, I know that some people see like the other things that I do and they'll be off put by it, and then they'll be like, I don't want to listen to this anymore. And I get it. I understand that it's just like the alternative would be the alternative would be to lie, and the alternative would be to like stop pushing that boundary. I feel like what Tower Gang has done is has just there's been a line and we've crossed it so far that we've dragged that line a little bit further, and every year we continue to drag that line further, and that allows people to actually think and talk. And unfortunately, sometimes we say some like crazy stuff. We go on that show intentionally to find, like, we look at the culture and we say that we move culture, and we do. We look at it and we
just got fucking Toad wrapped up in a
pedophile ring.
Toad is the Sam Hyde of pedophilia. This is
this may be how he ends himself, by the way.
Oh my god, dude. I almost feel bad if it wasn't amazing. What you guys have done here is amazing.
I want to say real quick, there's a big difference though, and this is justifying all what we do, which is, I mean, I love the humor, and there's no, and you can't get to where I'm going to be offended. So it's perfectly fine. But there's a difference between making jokes, talking about this stuff, engaging that, and then being that degenerate yourself. And I think there's a not even a fine line. Like, you know, I block half of these women that we put up on, you know, that we're showing, they're blocked on my, I don't DM with these people. I've got a great relationship with my wife. I do everything online as if my wife is looking over my shoulder, because it's the good way to be. And I'm that kind of person. But, you know, the chat that we talk and all the other stuff, perfectly fine. Cole is not like that. But we are, I think, and there's a difference there. Wouldn't you say?
Cole is that's why I do get on Cole. I think he has like literal demons attached to him. I'm a little worried about him, but he's also young, and I feel like here's the thing though.
Time for God to work on him.
Cole went through what I'm talking about, and what drove me away from the church. And instead of like him getting driven away from the church, he continues to go to church but lead this double life. And I refuse to do that. I told the people at church, like, if you don't like me saying certain words, but meanwhile, like, they're out there, they're having affairs. The reason I got kicked out of a church was I confronted the pastor that he was embezzling money, which he was. And he took my membership and basically kicked me out of the church. I'm like, oh, that's okay. But like, I said a couple of words, like he was like yelling at me, and I told him, fuck you, in the sanctuary. And like, oh, you said this in the sanctuary. I was like, you're stealing money from the church. But I said some words, and this is bad. Like, wake up, people.
That's such a great example, of like, which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the sneaky snake or the guy? I'm going to tell you exactly who I am. You're going to know exactly who I am after talking to me for an hour, and you're really not going to have to worry about me switching it up on you.
Exactly what I think about you within like 5 minutes of me meeting you. And but you prefer the buttoned up, you know, we're going to be very patient, and I'm going to talk to you real kind. It's like, these people, it's disgusting. And it really does make me sick on like some visceral, maybe it's my autism, where I don't like this guarded nature, or this like buttoned up nature of people. Cause like, I know that they're hiding something. I'm just not sure what. And I'm always very clear what my intentions are.
People want to pull away when they hear you say something off-putting. But if you hang with me for a second, you will find that I'm a good husband, a good father. I really don't engage in much of anything. I barely drink. I'll have a drink once every couple of weeks or something like that. I don't take advantage of people. I don't steal or engage. I don't fucking look at titty bitches all over I spend my time like, you know, removing, like, there's a little tab on Instagram.
We do watch some breast feeding videos on YouTube.
That's very funny. But like on Instagram, they'll try to show you something. Like, if you're not on Instagram for a while, every once in a while, when you go back on, they'll be like, how about this bitch in a bikini? I literally highlight that and I go, not interested. That's what I do. I go, not interested. So what would you rather have? Is it because I say faggot and that really gets you all tight? Or do you want, you know, somebody else who's not going to, I'll tell you exactly who the fuck I am.
This all comes back to the Ashley St. Clair. You know, like I don't, you know, all the stuff she posts on there, and then her life's completely different. And then people getting worked up about it. And I'm like, this is just highlighting that it's a facade. It's exactly what it is. And then when the mask comes down, it's everything you've preached against. And it's one thing to be, you know, we're fallen. I understand we all make mistakes. But it's when you're holding yourself up like as a Chad, what was the guy's name with the beard, you know, and then he was getting cucked.
Destiny?
No, he had a gray beard.
Yeah, you know, total douche. And this is exactly the stuff we're talking about. So
Well, look at this. I mean, so a lot of people in the chat I see are saying too retarded to stop. Yes, that's my motto. Too retarded to take advantage. That's actually kind of funny. But look at the relationship that Tim has with Ashley St. Clair. His name is Jack Murphy.
Jack Murphy. Thank you.
Shout out,
Yes.
Pat.
I love
I haven't thought about
See,
Jack
you
in
can't
a
hate
long
these
time.
people when they help your show.
Patrick's the man. Yeah, all these. Listen, I call them pieces of shit, and they are. But
full stop.
And by the way, and Raven earlier on was saying, then I'm a piece. You're not a piece of shit. He's the nice guy to everybody. And this is exactly this. Anyway,
give David your money, and I'll take half of it. That's
We have a shared bank account.
But it's look at Tim's relationship with Ashley St. Clair, somebody who he'd love to have on the show multiple times. I mean, she's got a big platform, but she says the right conservative things. But then when I called her out. I called her out like a long time ago. She had blocked me because I was like, you're being disingenuous and you're actually leading this conservative movement in the wrong direction. I have suspicions that you're a whore and that like what you're doing is you're lying. Well, anyway, cut to like what was it? Christmas of last year. Tim tells me that I'm too retarded to stop because basically I'm burning bridges by telling the truth to people around me that would upset them. What the fuck what do you want me to do? Even my own fans on Nephilim Death Squad. What would you like me to do? Would you like me to sit here and go, well, actually, today we have a breaking news and be no, I can't do it. I will never do it. So accept me for who I am or don't listen to the fucking show. But join the Patreon, $5.
That's it. Patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. But yeah, I think that goes back to what you were saying before, Tyler, which is like, why are you guys finding success? It's I think a tremendous amount of it is authenticity. I don't even think you have to like us, but there is a piece that you have within. There's something that resonates with you when you come across somebody, even if you find them to be off-putting. If they're honest, and it's like, hell, at least we know who that guy is, though. The people that you have to worry about are the people that you don't know who they are. You don't know who they actually are. They're presenting as one thing. In fact, I would say that if there was ever a case to be made for various characters throughout history subverting, a culture, and I'm not even just talking about the Jews, I'm talking about like individuals, right? I'm sure one of the things they would all have in common is they present as one thing, but are in fact something else. That's not what happens here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you guys have you, either one of you heard of this artist called Ren?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay, you may or may not like him, but I'm going to play it's 9 minutes. And by the way, I almost wish I could give you the controls. Maybe I should.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Okay.
You did the Kim Kardashian thing, right? By the way, I'm pretty sure about this. I think Raven started it on his timeline cleanse in the morning, and then you guys did it together. I only saw the morning.
Actually, no. I started it. Shout out Jose Galison. I started it on the morning dump with Jose one day. And just briefly going through it, I was like, oh, there's some real shit here. And then we brought it over to, Timeline Cleanse and Nephilim Death Squad. But Nephilim Death Squad is where we refined it and really, I think we nailed it.
Yeah, there's so much like step by step, scene by scene. That's the thing too. It's all done intentionally. It's all done to have a certain effect on the listener. I don't think we do that with Tower Gang. I think I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna go and so this is odd, but it's a guy. He's a. I'm going to just say this. So he puts this video out. This is all in one take. Okay. So he goes and records it all in one shot live. He's young. He's got some mental issues. Anyway, I think this may be something, and I'll stop it, or you guys tell me where you want to stop and make comments about it. Okay. So first of all, your first impression, just seeing this, what do you think?
It's interesting that you said it's all done in one shot. That's become very popular lately. I mean, as far as the imagery, I'm not really picking up much anything. Not anything that I would. I mean, if I wanted to reach, I can count the dots on the wall and tell you there's 6 of them, and that might be problematic. But no, we're not doing that. We're not reaching right now.
Okay, let's start.
Oh, I think I've seen this.
Oh, well, then we blew it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, wait, no, I haven't.
Okay, what? I'm not going to stop it every 5 seconds, but anything here that stands out besides the pig and the blood and the guy in a wheelchair?
I mean, it's all kind of open to interpretation right now. I could make leaps and say the pig is indicative of demons because Legion was many and it wanted to be in the pigs, but
this looks like shock value, like more like they're reversing the role of what it's supposed to. Does this guy have one arm, that pig?
I don't know.
Huh.
Could be.
It does look like he has one.
So kind of what brought this to my thinking of when I first saw both of you guys was one, the Kim Kardashian thing. Also the Oliver Anthony, the Top Lobster just despised this guy of doing his Richmond, north of Richmond. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look into
Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, those kind of things. So anyway.
Oh, by the way, the Kim Kardashian video was portrayed in a way that it was supposed to be like, look, this is all one shot. I mean, there were like brief cutaways, but it all was followed in one coherent path from beginning to end.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, what the hell?
Okay. Anyway, here we go. Tell me to stop if you need to say anything.
Hi, Ren.
I'm not doing anything about guitar.
Are you okay with this so far, Top Lobster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it good? Is that good? Is that like talented play? I don't know. I'm such a
tell me, is that
it's good. It's not as clean as it should be. He's not. I could tell that he's not like a guitar player, but he does play guitar.
Okay.
Yeah. Just some background. He's not classically trained in anything. He's just figured the shit out on his own. So
there you go.
A lot of busking
with that.
Yeah.
The only symbol, by the way, that exists on this at all is a cross. Well, two crosses, but yeah.
Okay, that's a good call. Okay, so he can sing. Okay, you guys okay with?
Yeah, fine with his ability to sing. It's a lovely.
Okay. Let's go on. Okay, I'm just gonna do a thing where I just back it up 10 seconds each time.
It's gonna be the fucking.
Hi there, Ren. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down, you know that. Deep down, you know I'm always in periphery. Ren, are you pleased to see me? It's been weeks since we spoke, bro. I know you need me. You're the sheep, I'm the shepherd. Not your place to lead me. Not your place to be biting off the hand that feeds me. Hi, Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself since my therapist told me I'm ill. And I've been making some progress lately. And I've learned some new coping skills. So I haven't really needed you much, man. I think we need to just step back and chill. Ren.
Okay, so you're getting what's your take right here? So there's singing, there's guitar, and now there's this.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, I mean, it's a drug-induced schizophrenia because I'm basically gathering that he used to be dependent. And so this personality is one that is associated with his drug dependence. And the only imagery that they are seeing fit right now to incorporate into this is the ways in which the lights play and create shadows. So shadows are usually a symbol that they would associate with, shadow people, demons, things like that. So yeah, it seems like he's anthropomorphized, but I don't think you don't really have to do that. Oftentimes drug usage will create a personality disorder. You'll have split personalities or something akin to it. Doesn't have to be that serious, but a little whisper is all it takes.
Okay, let's keep going.
So I haven't really needed you much, man. I think we need to just step back and chill. Ren, you sound more insane than I do. You think that those doctors are really there to guide you? Been through this a million times. Your civilian mind is so perfect to always being lied to. Okay, take another pill, boy. Drown yourself in the sound of white noise. Follow this 10-step program, rejoice. All your problems will be gone. Fucking dumb boy. Nah, mate. This time is different, man. Trust me. I feel like things might be falling in place. And my music's been kinda doing bits too. Like I actually might do something great. And when I'm gone, maybe I'll be remembered for doing something special with myself. That's why I don't think that we should talk, man. Cause when you're with me, it never seems to help. You think that you can amputate me? I am you, you are me, you are I am we are one. Split in two, that makes one. So you see, you gotta kill you if you wanna kill me. I'm not leftover dinner, I'm not scraps on the side. Oh, your music is thriving, delusional guy. Where's your top 10 hit? Where's your interview with Oprah? Where are your Grammys, Ren? Nowhere. Yeah, but my music's not commercial like that. I never chase numbers, statistics, or
Yeah, this is
So-
cool. Go ahead, David. You know what's going on.
I was
here.
just going to say, we know of a guy. He's a doctor.
Here we go. Everybody drink.
He's been in the field of psychology for 35 plus years and dealing with schizophrenic patients in particular. He came out of the other end. His name is Dr. Jerry Marzinski. Everybody can have a drink now. He came out of the other end thinking that schizophrenia was actually demonic oppression. And so instead of it being hallucinations generated by the mind, these are actually things that are external to us and that are influencing us one way or another. And he discerned 23 patterns that these things adhere to, which makes it really compelling because that's not what hallucinations do. They don't adhere to patterns, certainly not 23 of them. And one of them is that it is always negative. It's always a negative voice. Whenever it says anything, it's always degrading. It's always, who do you think you are? How could you possibly achieve it? Look at all the ways in which you fucked up. And it does a great job of highlighting your past sin because it doesn't want you to realize that you are not your sin and that through Jesus Christ there is salvation. Also, it wants you to believe that it is you and you are me and the only way to get rid of it is to kill yourself because you're the same thing. You're not the same thing. This is something that's external to you and it's lying to you.
These things, it's crazy. And this is where we get into the woo part. But yeah, Marzinski, he's spoken to, tons of patients. He actually got kicked out of his, he was working in a hospital setting and they kicked him out because instead of just treating these people with medication, which he mentions here as well, Ren says, just do your 10-step program, take some medication. That's not going to help you. He started to ask them, he's like, well, why don't you start to address these voices in your head? Like start talking to them, take agency. Like, what if they're not part of you? What if there's something else? And he was doing that and he caused like a big ruckus in the hospital that he was at. They kicked him out. So he started working in a jail. And the same thing, he started telling the people like, hey, start approaching this like as if this was an external issue rather than it being you. It sounds like you in your head, the voice, but he's like, well, it's not you. And go from there. And he was approached that said, the people are very upset around here at what you've been doing. And he says, well, what have I been doing? And he says, you have no right to interfere with our way of life. He's speaking like the entity is speaking to him through this person to like for everybody in this jail cell because he's now been a disruptor. Rather than letting these people just flail and this is in my own mind and I'm going crazy, I'm speaking to myself, my other half. He's like, no. This is something that you picked up and this is talking directly to you. It has access to your thoughts like a Rolodex and it sounds like you in your own brain. Mm-hmm. And he came on a second time on our show and he came on with somebody who had overcome this. And the guy gave his testimony about how, he was schizophrenic for years and was hearing voices. And then when he finally started to address them as if they were not his own, the voices act up, they get crazy. There's physical issues that can happen with you, but if you persevere and you really like see it through, he was able to quell these voices and get them out. Also, something very interesting, they react like
worms on a skillet.
Worms on a skillet when you recite, was it the 23rd Psalm to them?
Yeah, Psalm 23. Yeah.
Yeah,
and shout out to B Pliskin in the chat. She nailed it with just one word, parasites. And it is it's a very ingenious move for a parasitic entity to convince you that it is not a parasite, that it is just you, because then you stand no chance of getting rid of it. Also, if it's your own hallucinations, you have zero agency to change what's happening to you. You have to go, oops, I'm broken.
Well, there's this, and then there's just your demons of, you're doing a show. Am I worth it? That I'm sure are inner dialogues that you've had with yourself. Probably not Toplobsta. He seems a little bit too cocky.
Point,
but
can I say, I believe we're all schizophrenic. I believe schizophrenia is, you throw that fucking terminology out It doesn't exist. It is a spiritual disposition. And the only difference between you and somebody who is actively hearing voices is how much you feed into them and how much you allow them to emotionally ring you so that they can eat off that emotion.
Here's a good question for you, Tyler. How many of your thoughts do you think are your own?
Well, personally, I think I don't know. Honestly, maybe all of
your
them.
ideas. Your ideas. You ever had like a great idea?
This show was
that's a good idea.
Culmination of what I've got. Yes. Now I'm religious, right? So I pray, and then a lot of stuff is, is it necessarily your own? Is it influenced by other people? But somehow you come up with it in your head. So yeah. So what's your take on that? Maybe I'm psychotic.
It varies. So like Marzinski would say that none of your thoughts are your own, and you are an antenna, and you just receive and apply which ones you would resonate more with.
Well, I believe he said 80%. So there is some interacting with these ideas that you do, but I mean, the overwhelming majority seem to, according to him, not be yours.
So you don't have a lot of will, your own?
No. That's exactly what you do have. So what I've learned
picking
now,
and choosing. Gotcha.
You're picking and choosing, and there's a freedom in not identifying. I recognize this as troubling my son. Right. My son says sometimes, like, I don't know why I think the things that I think, or he'll come into my room scared at night. And he's like, I just can't stop thinking about scary things. And it's like, you need to take a step back and discern what thoughts are your own by way of coming to a conclusion. Like, oh, well, yeah, I thought of that. And then I organically thought of that. And that makes sense. Versus what thoughts just kind of pop in your head. You ever have just an intrusive thought, an invasive thought? Yeah. Fucking jump off the edge. That's not you. That shit literally comes to you.
It's funny because Tower Gang, one of my favorite bits that we've ever done was the intrusive thought bit. I don't know if you were a fan at the time, Tyler.
Never a fan. I'm still not a fan. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I think this goes back to what we were saying before, which is these influences of all these cultural things you do, or even Tower Gang. Do they then influence the antenna and what you receive?
That's a fair question.
I often think about that. So like sometimes I'm like, should we roll it back? Should we dial it back? But I feel like we've crossed this Rubicon where I'm like, we can only go forward. We can never go backwards now. It's a weird one, but it's something that I do think about. Like, no matter, listen, I might come off as like a cocky retard, but those voices, like whenever I'm doing anything, they're like, I don't know. I started my t-shirt company. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah,
I'm working for Odyssey. He's like, what do you think you are? You're not good enough. I'm working for Louis J. Gomez. It's like, no way you're good enough to do this. I'm gonna start my own show and I want to make it successful. Like, no, you're a fucking retard. Nothing you've ever done is right. But I just, this is the motto that I think Tim Pool nailed it. It's like, you're too retarded to stop. And I think that's like the key. Like, okay, maybe I'm not good enough, but I have to right now put aside my my past notions or my my ideas of who I am and what I can do. I need to put that aside and really apply myself and try this thing. Otherwise, we're never. Although, listen, there's also some things where like maybe we shouldn't do that. There's like common sense, like don't do these things, do this, do that.
But you know where that is, and where that ends, and where self-doubt begins. I wouldn't even call it self-doubt as much as it's something that wants you to doubt yourself. But the way I got over it is kind of like, after I really believed in God, I kind of solidified that idea in my mind. Like, I've always believed in God, a creator, but that I really like honed in on it and gave Christianity a go at the ripe old age of like 31 or something. And it becomes then that it seems obvious we're all put here for a reason. And so then it becomes insulting to God to get caught up in the woe is me and I'm not good enough shit, when if it is true that God put you here for a purpose and we all have a thing that we have to figure out, why are we here? What are we meant to do? That is fucking embarrassing. I mean, imagine being put in a realm with like dire consequences and entrusted with a mission of some sort, and then going, oh, but I'm not good enough. And then you're leaning on, like, I don't know, all the ways in which you slipped in the past. Remember when I was in high school and I had to give a speech in front of the class and I flubbed it? I'm not good. And it's like, man, that is, I just imagine like I don't know, like a secret agent, right? A secret agent who's like working for the Vatican to go and assassinate people, right? And the Pope hands him like a slip and it's got somebody's name on it. It says Joe Biden. And he looks at that Vatican assassin looks at that piece of paper and he goes, but I'm a bad assassin. I can't, like, that's so gay. That's so gay. So when I started looking at it that way, I realized how insulting it actually was to get bogged down in that mindset, thinking very little of yourself. And if you can join that with the idea that science and evolution and society as it is now wants you to think that you're an inconsequential, kind of meaningless, almost cancer on the planet, like you're to the detriment of everything else around you. They want you to feel the way the voices want you to feel. You know what I mean? They want you to think that you're worthless. They want you to think that there's nothing special about you. They want you to think that there's nothing special about this place. And so I recognize that as being of the very same flavor of gay as listening to those voices.
All right, let's keep going on with this.
No way. Yeah, but my music's not commercial like that. I never chase numbers, statistics, or stats. I never write hooks for the radio, they never even play me, so why would I concern myself with that? But my music is really connecting, and the people who find it respect it. And for me, that's enough, cause this life's been tough, so it gives me a purpose I can rest in. Man, you sound so pretentious. Ren, your music is so self-centered. No one wants to hear another song about how much you hate yourself. Trust me. You should be so lucky, having me inside you to guide you, remind you to manage expectations, provide you perspective. That thing you neglected, I get it. You wanna be a big deal, next Jimi Hendrix, forget it. Man, it's not like that. Man, it's just like that. I'm inside you, you twat. No, it's not.
Interesting
man, you're
thing
wrong.
here.
When I right, I belong.
What he does, I think this guy has had an experience like this and he does understand it.
Yeah.
But so
I'll tell you about that afterwards.
Right, back to Marzinski. One of the interesting things that happened to him was he's sitting at his desk and he's talking to a patient that's sitting across from him, and he tells him this whole thing. He's like, how have you been doing? Guy said, doing fine. And he slides him over a book. He says, here, read this passage. And the passage was from this Spanish. I think he was like a psychologist as well, but he's writing about the tendencies of these voices to possibly be something external. He says, read that paragraph and let me know what you think. And the guy reads it and he stops and just blanks out. So Jerry's sitting across looking at him and he's like, what the fuck's going on right now? Then he hears a crackling sound. He describes it as an electrical crackling sound, and it crawls up the wall behind him, goes around, and it jumps into a garbage can. He looks in, nothing there. The guy looks at him. He's still blanked out like a zombie. And he goes like, what's going on? Guy snaps out of it. He says, I got to go, gets up and leaves. So a month later or so, Jerry finds the guy and he says, hey, how you doing? The guy says he's doing better. He's taking his advice to address these voices. And Jerry asks him, what happened that day you were in my office? And he said, yeah, I don't know. So he pries and he goes, I heard a crackling sound. Well, what the hell was that? What happened there? And the guy goes, oh, I'm surprised you heard that. Those were the voices. The crackling sound, the electrical static crackling sound. And he says, interesting. What did they tell you? He said, they told me to go find a shiv and put it in your guts. And then he goes, well, why didn't you do it? And he says, well, I couldn't find one and no one would give me one. And so then he shuts his office down. But the interesting thing that I'm saying here is that this electrostatic noise that he heard, or the fluctuation of electricity, every time the demon comes forth, when Ren is singing, when his demon side is talking,
Such a good catch, you'll see retard.
You see the lights flicker, and then when Ren is talking, the lights are back on again. That is like, it's also like supernatural. You'll see like in ghost stories and stuff, the lights flicker, but this is actually how they communicate through this kind of like electrostatic, electromagnetic frequency.
It's all frequency.
Yeah.
It's all, but that, hey, Top, great catch, dude. That was fucking
good job.
Let me break the fourth wall by acknowledging this song. Ren sits down, has a stroke of genius. He wants to write a song that was not done previous. A battle with the subconscious. Eminem did it. Played on guitar. Plan B did it. Man, you're not original, you criminal rip-off artist. The pinnacle of your success is stealing other people's material. Ren, mate, we've heard it all before. She sells seashells on the seashore. Fuck you, I don't need you, I don't need to hear this. Cause I'm fine by myself, I'm a genius. And I will be great, and I will make waves. And I'll shake up the whole world beneath us. That's right, speak your truth, your fucking God complex leaks out of you. It's refreshing to actually hear you say it instead of downplay it. Music is all about the creative process, and if people can find something to relate to within that, then that's just a bonus. Fuck you, I'ma fucking kill you, Ren. Well, fucking kill me then, let's fucking have you, Ren. I'ma do it, watch me prove it. Who are you to doubt my music? Cause I call the shots, I choose if you die. Yeah, I call the shots, and so I choose who survives. I'll tie you up in knots when I lock you inside. Newsflash. I was created at the dawn of creation. I am temptation. I am the snake in Eden. I am the reason for treason. Beheading all kings, I am sin, with no rhyme or reason. Son of the morning, Lucifer, Antichrist, father of lies. Mephistophelies, truth in a blender, deceitful pretender, the banished avenger, the righteous surrender when standing in front of my solar eclipse. My name is stitched to your lips, so you see, I won't bow to the will of a mortal. Feeble and normal, you wanna kill me? I'm eternal immortal. I live in every decision that catalyzes chaos, that causes division. I live inside death, the beginning of end. I am you, you are me, I am you, Ren.
All right,
so that's
what's your take on that?
Chromatically, he just ran up the scale. Chromatic. I didn't catch what note he played, but right there, what he did was it looks like a diminished 7 chord where he slides it. So he plays it, slides it back one, runs up the next scale. None of it is within key. So it's kind of smart move. He's creating a chaotic scene. It's also not within time. It was like I think the time of it was just 4/4, and now he's like he's doing some kind of weird split time. I'd have to listen to it again. But yeah, the lyrics again. He's referencing the fall in the beginning of time, Satan, things like that. It's an artistic rendition. I don't know if that's like necessarily people aren't inhabited by Satan himself or Lucifer from the beginning.
No, I mean
But do they think they are?
That's true. Yeah. Could they be lied to and be told that? Yes, certainly.
But I think he's right there, what he's saying. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's actually inhabited by the spirit of Lucifer. One thing I can tell you for certain is that these things don't like to be pointed out and addressed by name or anything like that. So I actually enjoy what he's doing here, because this isn't like a very gay Beyonce talking about being possessed by the spirit of Sasha Fierce, or a very gay Nicki Minaj talking about being inhabited by Roman, or, you name it. You just keep going down the list. All these motherfuckers have an alternative ego that they take. They don't like that. It wants to be called Roman. It wants to be called Sasha Fierce, because it doesn't want to tell you that its name is something that you could look up in like the fucking Book of Enoch or some shit like that. So I think this is actually a good move in the way that he's exposing this. I thought this was going to be a lot gayer than it actually is. I like this a little bit. And I don't necessarily know that it has to be Lucifer. That doesn't matter. It's still correct. This thing has been there since the garden, since the dawn of time. I mean, because separate entities come and go. Lucifer, the morning star, seemingly the original Satan was the Nakash in the garden, and then that's a breed of angel called the Seraphim. Doesn't matter. All these things get switched out. It is the spirit of Antichrist that has existed since the garden. That has existed since the garden, and that is the spirit that these things come packed with, essentially. Because there's really only two teams. You're either with God or you're against God. And if you're against God, then you are affected by what is called, or what I would call, the spirit of Antichrist. So I don't really care if it's not Lucifer, the morning star. I think this guy just did a thing that's pretty fucking good, actually. And if people see this, I mean, ultimately, he's telling you, because this looks like a cry for help about his mental illness. But then he's talking about, the garden and the fall and all that other shit. So that's not what the modern day medical apparatus is telling you. They're telling you that you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. And this guy is more or less saying, no, you have an ancient deity in your brain. So in that way, I kind of fucks with it.
I will say, I don't think that most times it's not an ancient deity. I don't think that people are possessed by fallen angels or have them in them, but I think that they do have like these dark passengers, and I would equate them to the Nephilim, the children of the fallen angels, the ones who were, when they were wiped off the earth, either with the flood or after the birth of Christ.
Or some dudes fucking rolled around and killed them. David and the Mighty Men fucking kebabbed a bunch of,
they get fucked up.
Got wrecked.
Like all throughout the Bible, they're getting just fucked up. But
fucked up.
I think that a lot of this demonic possession is the Nephilim, the offspring of these things, and they will lie in order to push they all seem to push the same agenda, which is that's why we're on this. That's why we do our show, because like after a while you can only see so many stories and from
Nothing new under the
verifiable.
sun.
Yeah, it's like, but they're all saying the same thing, and here we have a song saying basically the same thing.
Yeah, and so to Top's point, this could easily be the disembodied spirit of a dead Nephilim, right? This would be a very lower level thing, but it's not going to tell you I am some lower level demon who is pretty readily casted out. It's going to tell you I am fucking Azazel. You know what I mean? Like it's going to tell you something insane. I am Semyaza, the original fucking. It's going to tell you whatever it can so that you feel like, oh, what chance do I stand against this? And that's even if you can get past the I'm just a version of you, dude. I'm just your trauma and all that other shit, And by the way, I think it's worth noting here that in America, we self diagnose rampantly. Everybody's got some fucking chemical imbalance. Everybody's got depression, manic anxiety, bipolar disorder, this shit. And we blame our trauma for fucking everything. It's like literally it used to be like the racial identity or sexual identity. We've moved in now to your mental disorder identity. And people are really happy to tell you, like, oh, I've had a lot of trauma. And it's like, the thing that came in when you were traumatized is this spirit that fucking loves that you identify with your trauma because it loves that you identify with it.
All right. Yeah.
Hi-Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself, and I've spent half my life ill. But just as sure as the tide starts turning, just as sure as the night has dawned, just as sure as the rainfall soon runs dry when you stand in an eye of a storm. I was made to be tested and twisted. I was made to be broken and beat. I was made by his hand, it's all part of his plan that I stand on my own 2 feet. And you know me, my will is eternal. And you know me, you've met me before. Face to face with a beast, I will rise from the east and I'll settle on the ocean floor. And I go by many names also. Some people know me as hope. Some people know me as the voice that you hear when you loosen the noose on the rope. And you know how I know that I'll prosper? 'Cause I stand here beside you today. I have stood in the flames that cremated my brain, and I didn't once flinch or shake. So cower at the man I've become when I sing from the top of my lungs that I won't retire, I'll stand in your fire, inspire that me to be strong. And when I am gone I will rise in the music that I left behind. Ferocious, persistent, immortal like you, we're a climbing to different sides. When I was 17 years old, I shouted out into an empty room, into a blank canvas that I would defeat the forces of evil. And for the next 10 years of my life, I suffered the consequences, with autoimmunity, illness, and psychosis. As I got older, I realized there were no real winners and there were no real losers in psychological warfare, but there were victims and there were students. It wasn't David versus Goliath. It was a pendulum, eternally swaying from the dark to the light. And the more intensely that the light shone, the darker the shadow it cast. It was never really a battle for me to win. It was an eternal dance. And like a dance, the more rigid I became, the harder it got. The more I cursed my clumsy footsteps, the more I struggled. So I got older, and I learned to relax. And I learned to soften, and that dance got easier. It is this eternal dance that separates human beings from angels, from demons, from gods. And I must not forget, we must not forget, that we are human beings.
So, a couple of other things worth noting here. I mean, that was gay, but not in the way that I thought it was going to be gay. It was gay because he's wispy, he's got a silly haircut, and he's wearing a.
He's British.
Yeah, he's British. That's really nice.
I can't help it.
But what I did notice there is that there was only one discernible symbol through that entire fuck you, Scott. One discernible symbol through that entire video, and that was the symbol of the cross. Now, I would have liked for him to, because it seemed like that's what he was getting at, and I would like to have seen him say that this is about Jesus Christ. I feel like a lot of people like get there and then they're too afraid to say it, or it's too cringy or whatever. But it wasn't filled with all the traditional symbolism that you would find in a Hollywood produced music video. You didn't find that at all, or a music industry produced music video. There was no, pentagrams or inverted crosses, goats or all seeing eyes or any of that shit. That was all absent. So he sets out to tell you this story. He's identifying mental illness as it's interesting that he also said autoimmune, isn't it, Top?
Let me just say it real quick. So he was diagnosed bipolar, whatnot. But the reality, and so he was on a bunch of meds. And at one point he even said demons were talking to him. And the only way to, he was going to do something they didn't expect. So he jumped out of a moving car. It turns out he actually had Lyme disease. And so the Lyme disease was causing a lot of psychosis that then the meds were making it worse. So that's kind of the downfall story of that.
Wow. It's funny
disease.
how often we find that Lyme disease there too.
Yeah, Lyme disease is just parasites, man. I mean, it's a specific
There's a huge
type
connection between parasites and these entities.
Yeah.
It's that's a tricky one. I mean, because a lot of we all talk about entities in the form of demons or spirits, but I do think that there's a physical aspect to them that we kind of overlook, especially in today's society. But Rogan's kind of on the right path when he's talking about like your gut flora and how that would affect your brain. And your gut flora is affected by parasites, and we all have them in ourselves. I think that's it could possibly be the big push to demonize ivermectin at the time, because they can't have you taking this stuff and purging yourself of get a Rife machine. Can't be purging yourself of these parasites that do affect your gut flora, that then affect your brain chemistry or whatever thoughts go in your head. I think that the physical does transfer over into the spiritual. So if you're physically knocked down, or if there's like a chemical, these parasites in you, and when they eat your food and they shit ammonia into your system and poison you slowly, you're more susceptible to certain voices in your head. There's a unique chemical makeup, and it does go along the lines of science, and spirituality and science do go along the same lines, is what I'm trying to say. So this it makes a lot of sense what's going on with this dude.
Crazy? Somebody sent me I forgot about this. I forgot her username, or else I would have shouted her out. She's a decent sized page on X, but she was going back and forth with me, sent me a recording of one of her buddies was acting in a way that she started feeling like he was possessed, and she's a fan of the show. And so she starts talking to him about maybe you should be doing a parasite cleanse, which is, an interesting thing to say to somebody, but she had it in her to record that moment. And so it's just like this guy on the other side of the room, and he's talking a little bit about this idea of a parasite cleanse, and then a disembodied voice pops up speaking Latin. I forgot about that recording. I still have it in my DMs. I got to show you, Top. And she said ever since then, stupid little things have happening, lights turning on and off, cabinet doors slamming and shit like that. So who really knows what's going on there? But I think we got like a little Easter egg in the Bible when it talked about when Jesus pulled the demons out of that man, and they said that we are legion and we are many, and and they basically bargained with him to have him put them in a pig. And then it turns out that pork is like one of the worst when it comes to parasites. You have to cook it really well, or you end up with what is it, like trichinosis or something, Top? I think you told me the other day. So I don't know. I look at those little things as like there's a physical component to a spiritual component. There's there's a duality to that. So I mean, like, yeah, shout out to Lucid Legend says, bro, parasite cleanse equates exorcism. I don't know if I'd go that far. But I mean, we even know some owners of a parasite cleanse company, and when we've brought this up to them, they're like, actually, we've been thinking the same thing. And they own a company.
Dude, they called me. They called me to talk about that specifically, and they're like, this is what they were kind of like ashamed to say it, and I was like, oh shit, like that was the first time I had really heard of it or put those things together. But yeah, sure, why not? It makes a lot of sense.
And ever since then, it keeps popping up. It keeps popping up in a huge way. So I think there's a correlation there. But yeah, just I like what that guy did.
Let me ask you this, Tyler. Why do you think they go out of their way to program human beings? And when I say that, I mean the Jews.
The Jews.
Whatever powers that be, whoever is doing these things, they'll change the flicker rate on children's TV shows. They'll change the frequency of music from 440. Sorry, what was it? It's 440 now, but it was I forget, man. I had to brush up on it. But they changed the frequency of music. They put fluoride in your water. They spray stuff over you. They spray stuff over the skies. They put like small microtoxins and plastics in your food. And it's like, it's just to constantly unbalance the human body, because the human body is kind of amazing and it works a certain way. But if they can cause these chemical inconsistencies with things that shouldn't be there, then I think that they can introduce other things. And then look around you. Look at how the propaganda works. Yeah, okay, 432 is the other her frequency. But I think that they do these things in order to make you more susceptible to their propaganda or make you more open to some sort of spirituality. I don't know, man. But they do this with everything.
Even to dull your perception of spiritual realms. I think we probably used to be a lot better at it in the past. And I think if you look at our ancestors, it's pretty obvious that they were communicating with a lot of different spiritual entities. And I think that we still have abilities of perception. I don't know to what degree, and I'm not advocating that you interact with any of these spiritual entities. I'm just saying if we could perceive them, like let's say our brain wasn't all out of whack, our body wasn't, there wasn't, so many microplastics in our balls. If that wasn't the case, maybe then we could perceive them in some more meaningful way. And then at least we wouldn't have doubts, because Tucker Carlson was recently talking about how within the West, we've been stripped of our understanding of the spiritual realm. And it's like, what got me to this place where I believe in God was having a profound negative spiritual experience that I was no longer able to doubt. I didn't have that luxury anymore of not being sure. And once I was sure, then I was like, okay, I got to pick a side because there's clearly something going on here. I think a lot more people would be in a lot better of a place if they knew, instead of speculating or wondering, I don't know if there's anything to like the spiritual realm. Like if you fucking knew that, then you would know, secondly, that there's a constant ongoing war. And if you know those two things, then you know that it's probably better to pick a side and instead of standing in the middle.
Are we there? Hello? Did I lose you all?
I love it. I was like, let's see how long we can wait.
I just decided, I was like, I'm going to bask in this. So I'm not saying shit.
Who's
Good God.
Did we lose you, Tyler?
Is he still there? Can you hear us?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
And so it looks like Restream isn't working too good either.
Thank God for StreamYard.
I know. I think StreamYard went out of their way today to like sabotage these other streaming companies. They're like, we're going to keep these $45 a month from these faggots. There's no way. Yeah. Oh man. Can you hear us now, Tyler? You're like, he's freezing out a little bit.
It turns out that Tyler actually only has 90 minutes in him. He's an automaton, and we only set him for 90 minutes. And I just realized we're 3 minutes beyond that, and his fucking whole he's about to start the show over again. He's gonna go, "Hey guys, welcome to fucking the Daddy Junkie Show. Here are our guests."
No, this is unfortunate. All right, he's
gone. Yeah. Well, let's talk to the chat. Let me see. Tyler's eyes glazed over. That could be part of the problem. He could have,
I think maybe Tyler has demons. Maybe we just froze him.
Ooh, maybe. Sounds like Tyler needs a parasite cleanse. Oh, he's gone now. Now we just welcome to Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, aka the Raven. That is Toplobsta, the father of disinformation. I don't know what we're talking about. We just spent an hour and a half. We have no more material for you guys. Oh, there he is.
All right.
Unbelievable.
I don't know what happened there. Everyone else stay online just fine?
Yeah, we were just crushing it. We were carrying the show for you, and we were speculating as to whether or not you had demons, and they got quite upset.
I do. We could end it up here. I appreciate you guys coming and joining us today. Anything else you want to push out there before? And yeah, Tyler, I'm a lawyer and I have demons.
That makes a lot of sense. I was talking to my wife the other day about how being a lawyer is one of the most corrosive occupations for your soul. So
not wrong.
Not wrong. I guess, guys, come in. Can we do plugs? Tyler, can I do plugs?
Please.
Am I allowed to do plugs? Okay.
Yes.
We're plugging. Guys, come and follow me on X at David L. Corbo, all one word. That's Corbo at David L. Corbo on Twitter or X. You can find Nephilim Death Squad everywhere you find podcasts, but you're only going to find clips on YouTube because YouTube doesn't like us. So if you want full episodes, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Or if you don't want to pay us because you're despicable, Rumble will do. I suppose you could have free episodes over there as well. And I do a show called Timeline Cleanse. Sometimes it happens several times a week. You never know when it's going to happen. And the only way you'll ever know is by watching our Rumble channel like a hawk to see when I go live. Otherwise, that's all I got, baby.
Oh yeah, check us out on Dangerous Real Talk Real Dudes RTRD 'S. That's the show we do with Clint Russell. We'll be back sometime this week. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like telling you where else to find me. Figure it out.
Yeah, and subscribe to my show LPR. I'm every Friday mostly. And I really appreciate both of you guys coming on. Toplobsta has been on before. It's always a standout guest.
This was a fun conversation, man.
Yes.
I really appreciated it. It was cool.
I know it was different, but that's what we're striving for here. Just a little bit different, and hopefully, I like this Ren guy. By the way, he was a white rapper. That's all that we really have to go through there.
Yeah.
So other than that, stick around because I got an outro for everybody. This is Top Centric, and once again, thanks everybody for joining us.
Okay, I'm leaving now, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any knowledge of the real world of what happens, we walk into Tim Catt's studio, immediately there's 4 Jewish lawyers.
King of the Druids!
Oh, that's all we needed. A Jewish princess.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't expect the normies like Tyler to understand these kind of things. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
This guy's, I wouldn't say he's full of shit, but I'd say he's stupid. Whatever, if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat now, I wouldn't pay attention to anything he says anyway. But
more or less, eat shit and die.
Don't ever come to Toplobsta. He will end you. Do you see what he just did to Tyler? Just fucking challenge this.
Tyler's done.
Top is a maniac.
He can't even reply right now because he's crippled.
He's got nothing to say.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?